From the National Weather Service in Raleigh, it's Nick Petro with your routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina on this Monday, the 8th of February, 2021. And this briefing basically covers a week through the weekend upcoming through Sunday. So let's go ahead and take a quick look, as I frequently like to do, to what's going on right now. And basically, look at all this cold air over the northern and central plains and Great Lakes region. That is just bitterly, bitterly cold air. One of our big challenges as we head through the next week or so, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, is to what degree, if any, some of this cold air will be able to bleed over on the east side of the mountains and in the Carolinas. And one of our challenges that we've had with the models is that, when a model projection, say a week from now, might show, some of that cold air gets down here, but then as we get a little closer to the event, it backs off. So, 10 days ago, there were some models that showed single-digit lows tonight in the Triangle and Triad regions and across the Carolinas, but that ain't going to happen now. So clearly, we have to be very wary of some of these longer range models that show cold air and because it has a hard time. And one of the reasons it has a hard time is because there's a mountain range right here, and cold air likes to hug the ground. Cold air is very dense. So if these mountains weren't here, well, then we'd have a totally different weather story. I mean, it'd be an interesting. Our weather would be much more interesting if the mountains weren't to our west. So anyway, you could thank the mountains for blocking a lot of this cold air intrusion. So oftentimes what happens is the cold air has to build to the north and then come down the east side of the mountains to get to us. Sort of the scenic route, as I like to say. So in the meantime, though, enjoy the sunny skies. You can see there's just a few clouds around, not much. And we've got temperatures climbing into the 40s. So anyway, our next weather maker will be a bit of this cloud, and a weak boundary will try to slip through. Again, it ain't going to bring this type of bitterly cold air, but maybe some of these, readings in the 30s types, slightly cooler temperatures. But that boundary will slip through tomorrow, and it might bring some of these clouds and maybe a bit of some rain. So anyway, there's the current situation. Let me close that, and let's get back into the slides. And you can see there's the upcoming weather pattern. So dry today, as I kind of pointed out, lots of sunshine, temps climbing through the 40s. And then a weak front will bring some light rain to central North Carolina on Tuesday and Tuesday night, so tomorrow night. And then, anytime there's rain, and sometimes that could set up a foggy situation. So after a foggy start, the weather should be dry for Wednesday with high pressure trying to nose into our area. And then yet again, you can see, obviously, as I showed on the live map, there's always a boundary that separates the cold air from the warm air, okay? And that boundary is going to be hung up over the Carolinas and Southeast coast. But fortunately, it looks like that boundary is going to stay far enough to our north or over us that we're going to be probably in a very wet weather pattern for Thursday and Friday as that boundary does slowly eke south across the Carolinas. Right now, we're expecting an all-rain event for central North Carolina with that system Thursday and Friday, and that weather system could give us, an inch of rain perhaps. So anyway, and then finally, once again, I'm not putting money on this here, but look where the boundary is at, come the weekend, and here's the big high with that cold air, and it looks like it's finally going to try to make its way east, but I'm still not entirely confident that truly is going to happen. I'm almost in a I'll wait and see it, believe it when I see it type of scenario. But based on model data we have now, colder air will try to move into our area beginning over the weekend. And if that should happen, it's not unusual to have waves of low pressure move along these boundaries And every time a wave of low pressure moves up along the boundary, it might try to spread some moisture back over us. So we'll have to keep a close eye on this time frame for potential winter P-type concerns. Okay, we're talking next week, well, this upcoming weekend and the early part of next week. So stay tuned. But I will tell you that I'm not terribly worried at this point, because as we get closer to these cold air outbreaks, the models tend to back off. Now we have been in a seems like a week repetitive pattern, like a weekly repetitive pattern. It seems like every Saturday going into Sunday, we get into a situation where we have P-type concerns, precip type concerns, and we have for the last 3 Saturdays and Sundays. It seems like the last 3 weekends we've been dealing with, mixed P-type in the Triad and up near the Virginia border, and so we'll see. I mean, maybe this weekend we'll just have to wait and see how much of that cold air bleeds eastward. All right. So in terms of rainfall, very light rain through the next 72 hours, a 1/4 inch or less if we get any. That late week system, as I mentioned, could give most folks about 1 inch of rain, and then still lots of uncertainty for this weekend. So that's the way things are shaping up in terms of amounts. No flash flood concerns the next 3 days, and no thunderstorms the next 3 days. So that takes us to our 8 to 14 day outlook, and sure enough, some of the models again want to imply that cold air will finally make its way east towards the Carolinas. And I'm slightly, if that really does happen, then the 8 to 14 would also say above normal precip too. So that's an interesting combination when you have below normal temperatures and above normal precip. So hang on there. We'll see how that manifests itself. I don't think we're going to have anything to worry about through Friday, and certainly we'll have to see about this weekend and into early next week. All right, so that wraps up this week's briefing. So dry weather today, a weak cold front will bring some light rain on Tuesday night, and a foggy start on Wednesday, then dry weather for the daytime Wednesday. We'll have a round of wet weather, should be all rain Thursday and Friday. And obviously, if anything changes, we'll let you know. And then, again, as I mentioned, colder air will try to move into our area beginning over the weekend. And if we do get waves of low pressure along it, that may give us a concern for winter precip types concerns. So you'll want to stay tuned. I think we're good through this work week. Once you get up into Virginia with that event Thursday into Friday, there is a risk for some wintry temperatures and wintry precips with that Thursday and Friday event. But nearly all of our models say you have to get up into Virginia before you see any wintry precip concerns. For once you get south into North Carolina, at least for central North Carolina, at this point in time, Thursday and Friday looks to be all rain. Okay, if anything changes, again, we'll bring you an update. But I think we're good through this work week, and then we'll have to wait and see if the cold air does get here next weekend. So with that wraps up our Monday edition for our weekly briefing for Central North Carolina here on this 8th of February, 2021.